What's up everyone and welcome to another Melee 3.0 special of Let's Max Warframe. The topic of today's video, probably what I would consider to be the strongest of the single swords right now, one that is extremely versatile, and that is the Dakra Prime. Dakra Prime is one of the weapons that has been around since, well, forever really. For a while it was the top single sword in the game, but as time went on it fell short to newcomers in the class, stuff like the Prismaskana and the Broken War that came in with the Second Dream, and it just fell into that sort of pool of forgotten weapons. However, in Melee 3.0 that shifted just a little bit, and now is probably the best of the bunch. A base damage that's close to the top of all the swords, less than that of weapons like the Dark Split Sword and even the mighty Broken War, although unlike those weapons the vast majority of that damage is in slash, meaning slash procs for days, plus the ideal damage type for anything that's not armoured. However, what it lacks in that base damage compared to those weapons around it makes up for in supporting stats. Highest crit chance out of all of the swords. Only 1% more than the Broken War, but it gets a 2.4 times crit multiplier instead of the 2.2 of the Broken War. That actually makes more of a difference than it sounds, due to the lack of multiplicative mods in Melee 3.0, plus the status chance of 18%, admittedly is 2% less than the Broken War, is only just short of 100% status chance with the Weeping Wounds build, meaning that it can proc status like crazy with its great attack speed. Stance-wise is actually where the single swords as a class get really interesting. Apart from the Broken War that is. A stanceless single sword has an incredibly simple attack animation. It's super quick, very spammable, and has a great slide attack. I know quite a lot of people that don't like some of the more animation-locky kind of stances, and ones that mess with momentum, so the stanceless single sword would suit them right down to the ground, especially since the stanceless sword is actually still very, very powerful. The reason I don't include the Broken War in this is because it actually has Vengeful Revenant built into the weapon, and as such doesn't actually get that super simple, smooth, basic attack like the other swords do. But the best thing is, that leaves the stance up to you really. The weapon is incredibly powerful as it is, and it's not like putting a stance on it is going to make it less powerful. So if you like it stanceless, go for it. If you like Vengeful Revenant, go for it. Vengeful has a really nice forward combo that I like quite a bit. Crimson Dervish hits like a damn truck if you can get used to it. That whole W and E combo it does has a huge arc to it and will hit a lot of enemies and do a ton of damage. The single swords are hugely personalizable when it comes to what stance you want, or if you literally don't even want a stance at all. Personally, I use Crimson Orbit combo from Crimson Dervish. Tons of damage, lots of multi hitting, and range actually means more on that combo than speed does. So it is the perfect one for me and the way that I play. Build-wise, it's actually a fairly standard meta combo building setup. Condition Overload in here for base damage. Once we're stacked, which takes about a minute, you can proc multiple procs per swing depending on the combos, so it works out better than Prime Pressure Point. The only time that's not really the case is with the stanceless, although the insane attack speed kind of makes up for that super quickly. Blood Rush for crit chance as our combo goes up, Organ Chest for crit damage, Weeping Wounds for almost 100% status when we're fully stacked on our combo, maxed out Elemental since you're not going to worry about dual stats, and then the final mod slot is going to be personal preference. Personally, I use Prime Reach. Hitting multiple enemies feels really good to use, especially if you're doing the wide arcing combos like Crimson Dervish, where the actual range makes more of a difference than attack speed does. Quickening works here too, if you want to use it to boost attack speed and to help us stack the combo quicker, and even potentially Primed Pressure Point. Only time I would personally use Prime Pressure Point is if I was going against my Lich or against the Sentience. It does kind of help the weapon not to feel quite so bad as you're stacking the combo, but honestly, more crit damage with the Gladiator Might, hitting more enemies at once with Prime Reach, or even more attack speed actually works out quite a bit better when you're fully stacked. And since you're stacked in a minute or so in a normal mission, I don't like using it outside of Liches and Sentience. However, It's an option for you here if you want to use it. In terms of keeping my combo up, I'm currently using Power Spike from Naramon to do it. However, you could also put a combo duration mod in that personal preference mod slot as well, if you want to use another focus tree. So the Dakra Prime, arguably top of the tree when it comes to the single swords, although not by so much that the other options, like the Broken War, are not viable contenders either. Super simplistic and one of the most free-flowing stances if you decide to not even use a stance, and not punishing you with terrible stances if you do decide to use them. Probably one of the most personalizable weapon classes out there. But the thing is, that ability to personalize your weapon to suit your playstyle doesn't come at a performance cost. The Dakra Prime kicks ass no matter what you're doing, whether it's your tier 5 Lich missions like I'm showing in some of the footage, or pushing the limits in an arbitration, or Cooper survival like I've got some footage of as well. The Dakra Prime does have the power to deal with it all pretty damn well. Riven-wise, it's even got a pretty decent disposition, so getting crit damage, attack speed, additional combo, status chance, there's actually a load of different things you could do with it to boost the power of it even further. I would say it's worth the investment into a bit of Kuva if you do have a Dakra Riven. If you like your single swords, Dakra Prime is 100% going to tickle your fancy. And so that's my look at the Dakra Prime. I hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry it took so long to get another video out. A lot of my looks at some of the mechanically interesting weapons, such as the Sancti Magister, didn't really go anywhere. Either they're not crit, at which point they feel kind of pathetic, or the heavy attack doesn't have a guaranteed slash proc, and as such are kind of laughably bad against armor, which is actually what happened with the Sancti. A focused heavy attack build didn't even one-shot a level 70 Grineer Seeker, which is far from the strongest like Grineer unit out there. And the hybrid build meant it wasn't that good in normal attacks. And while it hit kind of hard with the heavies once you had it fully stacked, it felt awful to use because you were tickling the normal enemies with your normal attacks just for that one big swing. It sadly just is a rather mediocre hammer, and try as I might, I couldn't save it. And I've been doing a lot of testing to try and get weapons like that to work, but I just didn't really get that far with anything just yet. That being said, I do have a couple of other weapons to do over the next couple of days, and Rebuild is returning on Monday with Banshee. That will be moving to twice per week, one on Monday, one on Friday. They're extremely involved videos to make, and they take a while to do everything needed. 3 per week wasn't really going to work so well because of all the testing that needs to be done. So I hope you're looking forward to all of that content. More Warframe coming in the next day or so. But for now, hope you have a wonderful day. Smash that like button if you enjoyed the video. Sub and hit the bell for more Warframe content. And I shall see you in the next video.